I'll be talking about the Warlock class in this video. I'll be comparing the Fiend against the Great Old One. The short version is, Fiends have exclusive access to destructive fire spells. The Great Old One, however, focuses on mind control and debuffs. Unlike other classes, Warlocks need to select a subclassic character creation. That's because the Fiend and the Great Old One's spell selection are different, even at level 1. Fiends gain access to plenty of offensive spells, especially when they reach level 5. Though both subclasses share the same class features, such as light armor and simple weapon proficiency, their subclass feature is different. The Fiend has the Dark One's blessing. It will grant them 3 hit points whenever they kill an enemy. However, this description is not accurate, as we'll see shortly. In this fight, Wyll has 24 hit points left. After defeating an enemy, he received 8 hit points, which is on a different pool. The description here says that it's equal to the Charisma modifier plus the Warlock's level. Wyll's Charisma modifier is 3, and he's level 5, so 8 hit points is correct. Note that this blessing will not heal him, and the maximum hit points gained will always be 8, based on the stats he has now. The Great Old One is focused more on mind control spells and debuffs. Their subclass feature is called Mortal Reminder. It will frighten the enemy and those around it on a critical hit. Ability checks and attack rolls of frightened enemies have disadvantage. Unlike the Dark One's blessing, which is guaranteed to activate on every kill, critical hits are hard to come by. You would need to roll a 20 without any modifiers on a 20-sided dice. At level 2, both subclasses can select 2 Eldritch invocations from this list here. I highly recommend getting Agonizing Blast. With this, your Charisma modifier will be added to the damage of Eldritch Blast. With 17 Charisma, the damage bonus will be 3. Next, get Repelling Blast. The rest are not very useful in my opinion. Repelling Blast will push enemies back after getting hit with Eldritch Blast. For the level 1 spells, Burning Hands and Command will be available to the Fiend. The Great Old One will have access to Dissonant Whispers and Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Remember, it's imperative that both subclasses must get Hex. Repelling Blast is very useful in pushing enemies off high places. When casting Hex, it doesn't matter which variant you select. They will affect ability checks such as Persuasion or Deception, and not enemy saving throws. After defeating an enemy, you can see right here that you can reapply Hex. This won't use up a spell slot, which, in this case, we have none left. Agonizing Blast adds Charisma modifier to the damage of Eldritch Blast. At 18 Charisma, this will be 4. The necrotic damage seen here is from Hex. We got unlucky and got the lowest value, but this is a 6-sided dice. Anyway, this is the optimal way to play the Warlock at lower levels. Cast Hex, and blast the enemy with Eldritch Blast till it's defeated. Then reapply Hex on the next opponent. You rarely need to cast anything else.
Should get started.
While doing these, be sure you're not hit or you'll lose your concentration. Breaking your concentration will remove Hex, and you'll have to use another spell slot to recast it. At level 3, Warlocks will now be able to summon a familiar. Imp is great, as it can poison the enemy, and can also turn invisible to scout hostile areas. For the level 2 spells, Scorching Ray and Blindness are exclusive to the Fiend. Detect Thoughts, Silence, and Phantasmal Force are exclusive to the Great Old One. I'm choosing Misty Step here. To be efficient, Warlocks must keep their concentration all the time. This spell will help position them away from enemies quickly. This character, a Mephistopheles Tiefling, also obtained a race-specific spell called Burning Hands. This deals decent damage and doesn't use a spell slot to cast. As mentioned, Misty Step allows you to quickly reposition your Warlock. When you're on high ground, Eldritch Blast will receive a +2 bonus to attack roll. I think it's very overrated though. Could have been much more useful had it been a damage bonus. For the familiars, I find the Imp to be the most useful. It has 10 hit points and 13 armor class, and can see in the dark for up to 24 meters. It can turn invisible, and can deal poison damage. Its normal attack will deal 7 points of damage max. The poison damage is a 2d6 dice, which is really good. Here's Burning Hands making short work of the spiders. At level 4, you can add one more cantrip and a level 2 spell. Note that for the Great Old One, most of the available spells require concentration, and so they will conflict with Hex. If you'll be using Hex like what I'm suggesting in this video, you are left with only Mirror Image and Shatter. At this level, you can also select a feat. I suggest you go with Ability Improvement. Increase Charisma to 18 to get full advantage of the Agonizing Blast and Eldritch Blast combo. At level 5, you get to add one more Eldritch Invocation. There are 2 new additions. One with Shadows will turn you invisible, and Sign of Ill Omen allows you to cast Bestow Curse. I find that none of the remaining choices are as useful as Agonizing and Repelling Blast, so choose whichever suits your playstyle best. Level 3 spells will now be available. The Fiend will have access to Fireball and Stinking Cloud at this level. These are not available to the Great Old One. At level 5, you can change your tactics a bit. While Hex plus Eldritch Blast is still my strategy of choice, you can choose to go all out with Fireball if you're playing the Fiend, and just take a short rest between fights to recharge your spells. I have chosen Counterspell for the Great Old One. Note that Warlocks can only cast spells twice. As per D&D rules, their third spell slot will only be available at level 11. At level 5, Nezuko gained another race-exclusive spell called Flame Blade. This is very strong, dealing 3d6 damage with each strike. But unfortunately, it requires concentration to maintain. The blade can be treated like a normal item, but can't be given to other party members, and will disappear once concentration is broken. Counterspell will immediately trigger whenever enemies cast a spell. Level 3 spells and lower will always be interrupted. Level 4 spells and above will be harder to counter, but no information at the moment how the success rate is calculated. Here, the enemy tried to cast Hold Person. You'll be given the chance to react before he's done casting. I'll counter it. Do subscribe if you like my videos, so you'll immediately see when new ones are out. Otherwise, all you'll see in your homepage are boring and uninteresting stuff. So which subclass is better? I say it's the Fiend. Fireball is just too amazing to pass up. And Dark One's Blessing can be very useful when fighting multiple enemies. Thanks for watching.